Good Sunday evening, everybody. Hope you can hear me. It's not a lot of multiple news going on this week, but the news that we have is it's pretty serious stuff and still some silly stuff. Congress, obviously, with President Trump's nomination confirmation hearings. But we'll see how that rolls around. Let's see. Let me. Gonna wait till a few people jumped on here. Um, the person that's on live right now, could you pop in the chat and tell me if you can hear me or not? I was having problems with my earbuds. I was wanting to see if they were working or not. Just let me know if you can hear me. So, I was going to talk more about a documentary on us here in Springfield this week, but other news kind of like, in my opinion, should overshadow the news about what's happening here, as it should. I mean, oh, cool. Thank you. Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks, Corey. Because I want to talk about the crashes. Not so much the second one. We'll find out what happened there. I mean, of course, just before I went live tonight, I guess United Airlines took off out of, I think, Houston, Texas earlier and caught on fire, and they had to do an emergency landing with the plane. Kind of makes you wonder what the heck is going on. But we have certain facts coming out about the Black Hawk and the commercial airliner collision. And hey, JD. How you doing, Bill? But and it's sad. Now I seen JD Vance do an interview with Maria this morning on Fox News, and of course, when they're saying DEI, the problem with this was DEI hiring or the lack of. And of course, when we say the lack of, which means that a person could be qualified, and if they ain't the right, color or click the right boxes for whichever group they may be belong to or whatever. So there's people been trying to get jobs in the air traffic control industry, and we got positions left open. Now, saying that, to me, that is not what happened in this situation. And it's not my opinion, it's factual. Well, Betty, I got more information come out about, they withheld the pilot's name for 4 days. I think it was it 4? I'm pretty sure it was 4 days. And that's what I'm getting into right now. This is what I want to discuss about this. It is, as President Trump and JD Vance are saying, it is DEI hiring practices. Saying that, why did they withhold the Black Hawk pilot's name for so many days? Well, I'll tell you. They needed the opportunity to wipe her social media presence. So, and they've photographs as came up today. And it may have been more than just today, but I seen them today. She was part of President Biden's cabinet. She's in many photos with him uh, giving like a, Medal of Honor, I think it was, or valor to a soldier. She was standing there with the president, and she's like, they've got a couple of pictures of her, like when they had the Pride celebration there at the White House. She like posed in that with a bunch of people that were there for the Pride celebration. And the thing is this is a young lady that this this is the problem with the Biden administration, and it's still the Biden administration that did this because it was the family members also, which is they probably all have the same political ideology. They wanted to clean her social media because of the what it would the perception of her being an extreme leftist uh, type person with her points of view, and she had this same old Trump derangement syndrome going on. And the thing is y'all seen the video. I've heard the audio. Have you heard the audio? Uh, they were given information well in advance that they were coming up on this plane. And they acknowledged, they even said that I guess when you take the reins from the air traffic controllers and it becomes the pilot's responsibility, because they said they had the visual on the plane and they accepted uh, their whatever they was going to do to chart around it to keep from having this collision. Well, I call BS on that. That's kind of what it said on the audio, but it wasn't what it said on the audio. They just said that they were taking responsibility, taking control. You seen the video? That Black Hawk ran straight. It's like it even kind of made sure it come into the right altitude and was able to pinpoint the plane. Honestly, I hate to say this. I think it was intentional. I think they brainwashed these young people, and they talk about the right being violent. Oh my God, was it Hakeem Jeffries was calling for uh, Democrat supporters, voters, to bring the fight to the streets. Now, if Donald Trump would have said, let's bring the fight to the streets, what they would have said he was implying, because he can't even use the word fight, because they assume that he's asking, or it's code for let's do something violent, which we all know that's not true. Uh, and then they did a montage about a week ago of all the leftist politicians that used that word fight in I wouldn't call it a derogatory sense, but it's like, like we got to fight. Let's go. We're going to fight and all this other stuff, which is any variation of that President Trump would say, yes, like J6, that's right. And yeah, Bill, I was getting into that. This pilot, she was a part-time pilot. Um, so a 23-year-old, I think I'm pretty sure it's her age. 23-year-old shouldn't be flying, especially a part-time pilot that's only got 500 hours. And I'm not even sure if that's 500 hours in a Black Hawk. That's just 500 hours of flying time. Over a congested area like DC, around an airport. It's almost like they were looking, they knew that they would be able to find a target there. And I say there were 3 individuals on that helicopter. All 3 people may not know what was going on, but in my opinion, the young lady did. I think she kind of took it to the next level, to be honest with you, because you watch the video. I mean, unless they can, and we've heard the audio now, so unless they can come up with some kind of unique explanation for this, especially when, so she's an extreme leftist person, that's fine. It looks worse, in my opinion, when you don't release. So think about this. Mainstream media once again carries the water for the Democratic Party. So nobody releases the name of the pilot until they've had time to wipe her social media accounts clean. That makes you look worse. It's kind of like taking a pardon before you're sentenced, found guilty of anything. It's almost guarantees that you look guilty because, especially with the pardons, with the 11 years of pardon time. I mean, come on. And, because it ain't just Hunter, it's all of them got that, I do believe. I'm pretty sure. So, unfortunately, let's get back to the crash. This is going to be my main topic tonight for a little bit. Um, it's sad. I feel very disheartened about with this, that these young people think that, and they've been brainwashed that the other side of the aisle, and I'm not just talking about President Trump, which I'm sure she probably thought he was Hitler, um, but to say this stuff and then I honestly, they when they act shocked something like this happens, to me it's disingenuous. They're not shocked. Deep down under the surface, they're they're like, uh, I wouldn't say praying for this stuff to happen like this, but they're gambling on that it'll happen like this. You turn the screws up and you tell millions of people every day on almost every regular channel that you turn on that has news that the new president is evil and he's coming after people to deport them for no reason, for people that hasn't broke the law, which Tom Holman does a pretty good job to explain that every single time. You broke the law when you crossed the southern border. So no, you now they've kind of like come to finally say it. They haven't broken any laws other than crossing the border. And we'll get into some of that, but it's more like because that's working pretty good. I seen what LA had this massive anti-immigrant or ICE protest. They closed down some big highway out there, Highway 101, I think it is. But you kind of expect that kind of stuff from a state like that. It's not nothing. I mean, you do expect some certain amount of protesting for almost everything that you do. Uh, there's somebody that's not going to like your side of the aisle and anything that you do. So you're always going to have a certain amount of protesting. We get it. It is what it is. Um, but I'll get back to it. We'll get back to the crash. But that's kind of like I'm trying to set it up as this is how these young people get this mindset that they think they're going to be a hero um, if they think they're making the other side look bad or do something physically harmful to somebody in power on the right. It's crazy. A standoff with the cops. Yeah, I just seen their potato head where they were marching. They was on some off ramp, and the news there, local news said they had to close down Highway 101 because of all the people that were standing on it. Yeah, Jenny. Getting back to the young lady, the pilot. Um, so I know President Trump and JD Vance are pushing this. The biggest problem here is DEI hiring policies, which means they do the lack of hiring because of the person that may be qualified for the job has the wrong skin color or whatever it may be, whatever their excuse is. There's been open positions, and but that's the narrative that President Trump and JD Vance are going by. But unfortunately, with the audio recording of the accident, and I say accident very loosely, people, um, they knew the plane was there. They were warned. They acknowledged they seen it, and they acknowledged that they were going to take the control. So for the maneuver, because usually the air traffic control people give you a heading to if you're going down a certain direction. Usually, the air traffic control people will give you a heading to correct your course to to be able to not have these mid-air collisions. This is why I think she did it on purpose. Uh, Everything looks, they're making her look guilty as hell. You know, when you, today's day and age, when you wipe that social media platform and the mainstream media keeps her name out of the news until her social media has been wiped clean. I mean, literally, I ain't seen nothing but a couple pictures that were taken in the White House of this young lady, and it's most of them have been with President Trump and or excuse me, sorry, sorry, President Trump, President Biden, and you could tell that she was, she can support who she wants to support, but this is where stuff like this. She should not have been flying that plane. And whoever gave her permission to fly that plane, or excuse me, I'm not doing very good today. Helicopter, sorry. Flying that helicopter in a congested DC area, it should have been somebody else of a senior rank should have been in control of that. But all accounts says no, she was the one in control of the Black Hawk. So, Betty, what's the motive? Honestly, if you, the motive can be something as simple as being so angry that your side lost and you're so worried because you've seen all the meltdown videos. These people are thinking that President Trump's going to come find her gay friends and put them in jail, uh, or have them. I don't know where they thought in America that authorities go around killing people because they're gay. That's the dumbest thing. But you've seen the meltdowns and the racist rhetoric that they pushed towards President Trump and his agenda, try to make like everything he says is racist. So when you think that Hitler is now in charge and you want to, and you're so angry that you just want to hurt somebody, you understand what I'm saying? You ever been that mad to where you were just so mad that you just want to punch something, and or you you want to self delete, you know what I mean? And she figured she was going to do it. She was going to put her name in the headlines. So basically, in her mind, she's going out in a blaze of glory. For whatever reason, people do think like that when they, and And if Hitler really was in charge of, if Trump was a modern day Hitler and he was actually doing the things that they've been accusing him of, then a lot of people would not, if there's, and when I say this, I mean, they don't want to be here no more. They're afraid of so afraid of what's going to happen. They don't want to be tortured or locked up or what the J6ers went through. And when I say torture with them, you know, isolating them, not feeding them, not letting them take showers, not letting them get visitors. In today's modern day and age, that's a version of torture here. So all these people are assuming that this is what's going to happen to them, so they don't want to be here no more. But yet they're so mad that majority of the country voted him in, that they figure, if they're going to self delete, well, the chances are there could be 60% of the people on that plane could be Republican leaning, not Republican necessary, but what I'm saying, conservative voting. So, and I'm just guessing on that part because nobody knows what's in the mind of somebody when they decide to do something so horrific as this. But I do believe it was on purpose. I do know that she is a extremist leftist, and because any of these people that are like part of the White House during Biden 4 years, they're DEI hires. They are extremists. She was probably hired. I don't know what her sexuality is at all. I don't. But most of the pictures I've seen of her is with the Pride celebrations. But ain't saying much because there ain't a whole lot of pictures that I've seen. But it was events at the White House, so um, that's probably, I don't have really much more to say about that subject other than I think that motive is unknown, uh, but you can connect the dots by the rhetoric all these years, and then that individual who is supposed to be so evil and dangerous for this country wins. And it is what it is. People do horrific we do horrific things to each other. You know what I'm saying? That person, if she did this on purpose, there was a children on that plane. So you got family members that are affected now for the rest of their lives. And that person who did that could care less. So who's the evil? That's all I'm saying about that. We'll move on. I mean, I'm sure if they can piece stuff together. Of course, we haven't really heard everything we need to know about the young gentleman that shot President Trump in the ear, Crux. Another deal where social media has been cleaned up and there's no information on that. Uh, but yet, the individual that set the Tesla truck off, and you and the other gentleman in Texas, was Texas, yeah, or Las Vegas. Sorry, Las Vegas, where the truck went off, right? If I'm not, okay, that Trump Towers in Las Vegas. Anyways, that's really not the important part of the story, although it is important to whoever went through that. The thing is we knew everything about them people like that. But when it flips the switch and it's them coming and doing something horrific towards left to right, information is scarce as hell. Say he was suicidal. I made him land immediately, even though it wasn't on Yeah. Right. Yeah, Jenny. I mean that would make sense because even though that's probably not that pilot's fault, that he has a crazy ex. Uh, for public safety reasons, that pilot probably understands. Um, you know, the airline had to do what they had to do to keep everybody safe because they don't know. They don't know. It's kind of like when a cop gets comes into a situation like a domestic violence or an argument. It's a verbal argument at this point. They don't know if it's going to escalate or not. So they got to do what they got to do. They usually put both people, separate them, put them in handcuffs, question them, do stuff like that for their safety and the people that are getting information from safety. So I can get an airline doing that, grounding that pilot, and and that costs a lot of money for them to do that. And really, I'm on the fence about if it's that pilot's fault or not because he's got a crazy ex. Because let's be honest, usually when you start dating somebody, uh, you don't. They hide crazy in the beginning. They hide crazy. So once you realize that there's a crazy person there, it's almost too late. So really, it's kind of hard to really blame that pilot. But something's got to happen. For one thing, if that's not true, then did the ex get in trouble for calling in and making that claim? Uh, I was curious about that. Yeah, Betty, military has always been evaluated for mental issues. Till recently, that is true to a point. Um, like I said, she was part of the Biden administration. She was part of it there in the White House. Uh, she was a part-time pilot. I don't know why they keep calling her part-time. I'm assuming because she don't have enough hours in to get to a certain level, I guess. And I don't think you get your hours in by flying a Black Hawk over DC airspace around an airport. That just seems stupid. It should be out in like the Mojave Desert where there's nothing else there, and then run them through the paces. But hopefully more information will come out. Uh, I can tell you this: even though President Trump's in office now, the deep state has a way of making it difficult to get. They do that slip slide juke to one side or the other, to keep you from getting the right information that you need, to lie to them. Just like, with the DEI hiring, they changed the titles of some of the people that were like in charge of these DEI departments in different branches of the government. And all they did was change their title and told President Trump that those people, were no longer there. Those positions were no longer there. Well, of course they wasn't. They just changed the title of the person that was doing that. So, but they got busted. So a lot of that stuff is not going to be as easy to do as it did the first time he was in office. So we'll see what happens on that. So she did not get in trouble for calling the airline and saying that her boyfriend or husband was being suicidal. Whew, man, you think there'd be at least a civil suit for the expense of having to bring that plane back down, get another pilot into that seat, remove that pilot, and then interview that pilot. And then you got all these people who are late for their destinations. There's always some kind of a way they try to, at least they did, to fix it so that you're not as mad as you have the right to be mad. But they, if you tell them the truth, which I doubt they ever told them the truth, maybe, because that would scare the shit out of them and not want to fly anymore. So, anyways, The world's a crazy place. Yeah, Stephanie. There were all kinds of things that was wrong what that Black Hawk helicopter was doing. This is why I say in my opinion, and this ain't really a gut feeling or nothing. It's just an opinion. If you connect the dots, she was a. I'm not going to call her extremist because they wiped her social media, so we don't know what kind of comments she posted all the time. But she was part of the Biden administration. She she was a DEI hire in the military. She was only a part-time pilot. She was flying in an area she should not have been flying in, and nothing shows in the video or any like maydays or you know how they do, nothing like that. So if you connect the dots, it looks like it was on purpose. So 7 people are now dead. You know, they started recovering the bodies out of the airplane today, so these family members can take their uh, relatives home and bury them. It's so crazy. Yeah. But yeah, Jenny, I get that they made him go through that. So I get, and they should, because, and if anything, to prove that she's not telling the truth, not necessarily that he is, they were trying to prove that he was. Well, he's trying to prove that he wasn't. So he probably, yeah, I'll do whatever it takes. You know, this is messing with my career now. That's messing with somebody's back pocket. Because if they are found anything mentally unstable and he's not out of a job, so yeah, he's willing to probably do whatever it takes. But there's a cost to all that. That's what I'm saying. So if they found out that he was mentally fine and that call was a fake call because she was mad at him, uh, the airline should be able to sue that person and recoup their money back. But that's, to me, that's a minimum what they should have done to that person. Yeah, Bill, that's what I was just saying. She was part of the Biden administration. She was a White House aide. You can see her in photographs, um, being around the president, being around President Biden, and being part of that LGBTQ plus four whatever celebration that was at the White House. They got a few pictures of her there. It looked like she was off duty because she was looked like she was in casual attire to like, be part of it or whatever. Yeah, Jenny. Yeah, and you probably won't know about that unless. No, you wouldn't know. They probably kept that under wraps no matter what. But hopefully they did something. That's on them. They were the one. They were the injured party in this situation. The gentleman, the boyfriend or husband or whatever he was, and the airline themselves. And hopefully, if he was married to that lady, he divorced her. Or if anything, if it's a boyfriend girlfriend thing, get a restraining order against her. Okay, so I'll move on from that. I'm glad you guys come in and hang out with me tonight. It's been kind of a. I haven't worked out in the garage or nothing. And I'm not gonna go into all the reasons why, but yeah, It's typical for me. Um, so, anyways, I was looking forward to this. I always think, cause I don't know about last. I enjoyed last week having Carl on the live stream. Uh, Killer Carl from Rumble. Um, but I wish some of you guys maybe would accept my invitation to come on here. We can actually have a verbal conversation and have a talk. And to me, it makes it more interesting for the people who are tuning in. And I even like the fact that getting somebody on here that has a different opinion than mine. I think I would quite enjoy that, and I'm be completely respectful. I'm not one of those gotcha kind of. I'm not trying to do those gotcha questions or comments. Well, Betty, it is what it is, dear. Um, but let's flop up to let's move on from the accident. Right now, like I said, they started the recovery uh, efforts today. The military is recovering those bodies, which I thought that was kind of odd that the military is doing the recovery because they recovered uh, the servicemen out of the Black Hawk fairly quickly. Uh, but the plane is 8 feet underwater and their people were trapped inside of it. What was left, some of them got ejected when the plane broke apart, and they retrieved those bodies. That's a horrible thing to talk about, isn't it? Retrieving dead bodies. And especially since they've been now. That was what, the 30th and the 2nd of February. They've been underwater for days now. I don't envy some people's jobs that they have. Hey Karen, how you doing from Indiana? Well, Lori, the update on the Haitians here is, and there's a lot of fake news roaming around right now. So, because I try to dip in on the local stuff and talk to people, and there is there's a lot of fake news going around that uh, they ICE raided one of those buses that brings them in, and raided a bus and arrested them all at the Love's truck stop where these buses drop them off when they come into town. From what I can gather, that didn't happen. So there's a lot of fake news going around, and I don't want to add to the stupidity of it. Uh, like I said in my previous live streams, some of them are self-deporting themselves. The ones that are all pregnant, they're not going anywhere. Um, so we'll see how that turns out. See how they're able to handle that going forward. Um, but then and to move on from that, the first plane crash or collision in midair collision, then you have that medical plane, that jet that crashed. That one was kind of odd. It looked to me like something happened, just like today. United Airlines, as soon as they took off, one of the engines caught on fire, and they had to bring it right back down and do an emergency landing. So, by looking at all the video that I've seen of the medical plane crashing, that was probably mechanical error. Not I say mechanical error, mechanical failure, uh, because the way it sounded with the whistling and everything sounds to me like it was burning fuel was under, like when your jet, when you're jet engine is rotating, it forces uh, burnt fuel out the back. That's how it goes forward. By the way, it was making the whistling sound. It sounded to me like it was the jet fuel was on fire and the engine was still running. And they probably lost control because the heat probably melted the controls that controlled the flaps and everything on the wings. So I think that's what happened on that. Uh, it's unfortunate that it happened. Uh, and especially it's odd, being so close to the other one. But it was different scenarios. So, hopefully they'll get to the bottom of that one. And that was a crazy crash. That was wild. It looked like some people really thought we were being under attack. But like I said, that was extreme uh, burnt fuel under pressure ejecting out the engine that made it probably go even faster. That's why it looked like a missile going coming to the ground because they lost control. So now they can't control the engine, and all it's doing is picking up speed, and then it just rams itself into the ground. Um, I, we'll know more about that in the coming days. But that's what I've seen from what I've paid attention to and what I know about engines and how they work. Yeah, Beverly, that's what I'm saying. They're in just right now in all the news. Not just the Haitian issue here in Springfield, which is right now. It's people are spreading misinformation on purpose, and I don't really get why they think they're doing it. Yeah, Jenny, I agree. It's sad that a girl trying to get medical treatment and then dies. That's true. That's true, Betty. But then the maintenance on that particular jet is the responsibility of that medic company. That is basically their ambulances is what they are, jet ambulances. Uh, that's what they do. They transport people and body parts or organs all over to get them where they need to be in a timely manner to save their lives. So if that was a maintenance issue, that would be on that company there. And you know, like I said, well, we'll move on from that because that's pretty cut and dry. Something definitely mechanical went wrong on that one. So you guys been watching the confirmation hearings? I find them to be a clown show for most parts of it. And I've said it before, the Democrats have learned nothing. This whole shellacking that they got during this uh, election, you think they would not try to tear down everybody that is associated with Trump just because they're associated with Trump. I think all three people, when I say, and then three that I'm talking about is Cash Patel, uh, Tulsi Gabbard, and RFK. I'm pretty sure that Cash is going to get through. Yeah, and I'm pretty confident that maybe RFK might get through. Tulsi, though, I don't know. They're sticking to this when she had an opinion about Snowden and whether he was a traitor. Well, he obviously broke the law. And but and then he put that information out there publicly. But he did it. And I kind of believe the story. He did it to prove a point that this is information that they are gathering of you, innocents, innocent people, and he was afraid that there was no authority he could go to that would, consider this an injustice just like he did at the time. So he felt like he needed to put it out in public. Now, him going to Russia, of course, Russia was probably one of the few countries in the world that would say, yeah, we'll make sure they don't take you back to America. You come on over here. Okay. Yeah, Lori, I didn't see that part, honestly. I was just when I first started the live stream, I was talking about how the pilot that was flying the Black Hawk was, uh, they withheld her name from the news story until they had time to wipe her social media clean. So that's disturbing all by itself, and that whole story, that's the disturbing part. Why would you do that unless you was worried about something that she had said or commented about that would make you think that, oh, this is possible for her to do something like this? And there probably is something in there that would give us a clue of whether or not she did that intentionally or if it was just a error in judgment because you're not knowing any better. Uh, so hopefully we'll get to the bottom of that because we have the right administration in office, but they still always seem to have roadblocks that keep them from finding stuff out. Deep state is strong. they and it's not an easy job cleaning the swamp out, people. But anyways, getting back to the confirmations, like I said, I think Tulsi is probably the one although she may get it, but I don't know. RFK, you know what he did, Bernie Sanders trying to, once again, him and Elizabeth Warren, oh my God, they're ridiculous. It's so funny because he's in the business of suing these pharmaceutical companies for the crap that they feed their customers. Uh, you know, lying about what the side effects are or not. No, that's what he did. That's what he did. That he was a lawyer, and then they tried to make him commit that he won't do that no more, even after he's out of his position. That's a dumb thing to say. Why would you? Why would you? And I'm glad he didn't. He did not agree to that. But when he called Bernie out about being the highest one in Congress, uh, uh, the largest amount of money received from pharmaceutical companies for his campaigns, out of all the other people in Congress, he is the highest one. So you can't. That kind of blows his argument of what he was trying to argue with RFK about. And then, Cash Patel, they're doing stupid shit like he promoted a song, a music video, or something that he liked that was actually uh, pro J6ers and anti government or whatever. I don't know the song, so I couldn't answer what it was 100% about. But all they cared about was whether Adam Schiff, the Shifty Schiff, is a piece of crap. That's all he cared about was trying to get him every word he says as if it's literal. Like, you know what I mean? Like if he says, "Well, we took that down and released it," wasn't him personally that did it. You know what I mean? If you've seen the interaction and exchange with it, Shift is just he's running out of things to try to make our side looked bad. Like I said, if for those who are voting Republican, who are voting for Tulsi Gabbard, yes or no, hopefully they'll get past the Snowden opinion she has. Oh, Rusty, what's up, buddy? That's cool, Jenny. Um, but anyways, if they can get past that, Tulsi may get confirmed. RFK, uh, I honestly I think it's because he left them, and he still calls himself. I don't know. He still don't. He's not a Republican, and he says he never will. But they are so mad at him for breaking ranks, and even his own family, which his nephew, I think, or grandson or whatever, that's been making them mean videos, trying to be funny, trying to impersonate him and shit. I don't know. Something the left ain't got a comedic bone in their body. They just don't know how to be funny. So, anyways, there ain't a whole lot on that. If you've watched them, you've watched them. There's a lot of highlights out there. We'll move on from the confirmations. Like I said, we'll see what happens there. And how many of you guys are? I'm kind of happy or tickled. It ain't happened yet, but it's probably going to happen. Finally, going to defund NPR. I mean, that for one thing, it's like the most boringest. The way they do the news, it's horrible. They're boring as hell, but their information is no different than CNN or MSNBC or anything. So, anyways, I'm glad about that. If that does happen, that'll be good. Now, Doge. There are, even though the president gave Elon Musk the powers to go in and go anywhere he needs to go inside of government and follow the money. And what did the Federal Reserve do? They blocked him. They refused to. All the way up till they got too much pressure. And the person that was in charge, that was doing the big blockade, what I read the stories right, and I'm pretty sure this is a fake news, up and quit. Instead of just opening up the books and showing, he quit and ran. And that ain't even got nothing to do with this other Fed advisor who just got arrested and charged for giving sensitive information to China. So, man, it seems like the left is riddled with the Chinese, that they are locked with the Chinese one way or the other, all of them, from Biden all the way down. So, yeah, we'll see. And the guy's name that's being charged, John Rogers, I think, is one that just got charged for that. And I don't know the name of the individual off the top of my head that quit. He just up and quit and ran. And they've already found a money laundering uh, setup network, if you will, of how they were able to get the money filtered through some NGOs to get the money they wanted to these illegal aliens that were here under TPS and refugee status without bringing it to the attention of Congress, because there's supposed to be oversight for all this, but apparently, if everybody's in on it, there's nobody to oversight anything. So, looks like Elon Musk is going to start rolling in the savings for us. Just rolling it in, rolling it in. It's all good. And I said last week, we were talking about the Greenland, the Gulf of America, the Panama Canal, um, you know, Canada being the 51st state, whatever, which the tariff thing, well, that's off and running. That started today. And Trudeau he tried to get on television and act tough, like he's going to match dollar for every tariff that the U.S. puts on them. What they don't understand is it's like even the cars that we get from them are actually our cars that are made across the border. They're still U.S. companies, so they can actually beef up production here in the nation and harm their automotive industry there, because 20% of our cars come from Canada. I did not know that. Well, why is that? Well, I guess they made some deal with Canada to do a certain amount of trading with them. So it's not about doing something to make America great. It's about doing something to make the wrong people lots of money sometimes. That's what it's all about. Because Canada, I can't imagine Canada, because the wages up there, I mean, I can see Mexico, building stuff in Mexico, because they like $7 an hour or whatever, compared to almost $30 an hour here, or actually in some cases over $30 an hour. In Canada, their wages are kind of high because, they got this large tax that they have to pay, because, they have Canadian government insurance, health insurance. So saying that, I think that's Trump. I still think Trump's just trolling them. He ain't trying to. I think he will break them when it comes to the tariffs. Trudeau just doesn't have the willpower to go up against Trump. He really don't. He's too much of a puss. So we'll see how that happens, or how that works out. The Greenland thing, that's a serious deal now. And even though Denmark has made their objections or whatever, there's a lot. I've seen a lot of YouTubers travel to Greenland and interviewing people on the street, and more than not, they would prefer to be under the umbrella of the United States than Denmark, which I found kind of fascinating, because you think like Panama right now, Rubio's down there and they're butting heads, talking about America. It's not going to come in there and dictate what they can do with what, and so they're butting heads down there. And of course, the news, fake news again. I was watching it, and they were talking about mass protesting against Marco Rubio for being down there talking to the president of Panama down there to work out a deal for national security and in our economic best interest, to work out something with us. And come to find out, that mass protesting that was going on was a total of right around 200 people. So 200, that's not mass protesting. So I don't, once again, kind of like mostly peaceful protesting, and the town's on fire behind the reporter. Now they're saying the mass protesting going on, burning effigies of Marco Rubio and Donald Trump, and I think they showed one guy doing that. It's not like they were running around. Like if you watch an Iranian deal, uh, especially during the Iraqi deal, you seen Bush and everybody from this cabinet on a stick being burned, all these effigies being burned. Every time you've seen it on TV, it must have been, but they're burning 5 or 10 of them, not 200 or less people in one. They burned one fake doll of Trump. Uh, so, anyways, fake news. Now, y'all remember correctly, I said I don't think that taking control of the Panama Canal is going to be an easy thing. And I don't think it will be without its serious challenges. And when I say challenge, I don't mean like diplomatic challenge. I mean like it could come to some kind of a physical altercation between the two countries. Uh, we'll see. Uh, and the Canadian thing's a joke. Greenland, from what I understand, we'll get back to that. Greenland is allowed to have an election. I guess the people are free. So it's not like they're being, I guess, ruled by Denmark. But Denmark is, their government controls laws and policies of that country. Um, so if Denmark wants to have an election to remove Denmark, or if Greenland wants to have an election to remove Denmark from power and install the policies and laws of like United States, and then they fall under our. I mean, we're already protecting them, I guess, which we protect most of the world, but uh, they would get a serious upgrade in military defense coverage. So we'll see how that works out. Like I said, a lot of the people in Greenland, the regular people that you see that they interview on the street, has no problem with being part of the United States. So that's pretty cool. And Gulf of America, yeah, I've said before, we can change that name on that instead of Gulf of Mexico. Who's going to stop us? You know what I mean? So that's not that big a deal. I didn't really have a whole lot to talk about tonight, guys. I did want to, the Doge thing, the Federal Reserve funneling money laundering, basically a network of it, of how to burn through cash, government cash, which is our tax dollars. I don't think, Donald Trump put a challenge to Elon Musk. Find a way to save $1 trillion off the United States budget. Now, when that first started talking about it, that sounded like a large ask, almost an impossibility. $1 trillion off the budget of our national budget and not affect stuff that we seriously need, But then there's so much waste, like the $50 million for condoms to Gaza. The 50 million or 15 million? I can't remember now, but still, either way, why would we be supplying condoms to a foreign country? It'd be different if it was like back in the day when we were trying to curb the spread of AIDS and, like the African people, educate them on that. I think we did all that actually to keep them from spreading it. I can see us doing some kind of aid with that, but it wouldn't just be giving them condoms. It would be education along with everything else. But to hand over people who have a lot, some of them a lot better education than we got. Uh, that many millions of dollars for that's the waste that President Trump was talking about, stuff like that. And I think that trillion is probably not going to be that hard of a thing to accomplish, to be honest with you. And did y'all see that Vivek is now going to run for governor? That's 100% deal. You know, there was talk about it before why he left Doge, but and it's kind of a wild thing because he got that idea in his head by coming to Springfield to having a town hall meeting about the Haitian issue here, and then somebody in the audience asked him if he would run for governor to get rid of our piece of shit governor that we have, and that's what put that little desire in his brain, and I think that's pretty cool. That Springfield and this Haitian problem kicked that off. Yeah, I do remember $700 toilet seats. When people tell when you tell people that, they look at you like no, and it wasn't just was it $700 toilet seats and like $200 hammers or something, something like that. Weird, dumb stuff. Well, Bill, the only problem with that is most of the people that are guilty of doing something wrong in that whole situation, Biden pardoned. Except he didn't pardon himself, as if we would go after a senile old man, which is probably why he didn't care. Uh, but there was a few of these people who said they didn't need a pardon, they didn't do anything wrong, and then later come out and said they're going to accept the pardon. So hopefully there's still somebody out there, and I said this before. It's not that okay, so they're pardoned, whatever. That means they I don't think they can plead the fifth anymore because they can't get in trouble for anything that may incriminate them for some kind of legal proceeding in the future because they've already been pardoned for everything and all things, anything they may have done from 2014 till January 20th of this year. So, yeah, I would like to at least know. This way you can identify the snakes and cut the heads off and allow the rest of the network, because that's what I'm gonna start calling them. It's like a network of deep state, and they're not all criminals. They're not all are breaking the law, but there's a lot of them that are doing wrong. And you know what I'm saying when I say that is that it's unethical, some of the things they do, but yet they justify it because they're doing it against President Trump, and anything done to resist his policy, no matter what you got to do it, it's any means necessary, and they feel like they're in the right to do that. So not all of them are actually breaking the law, but they are bending the rules to the point to where they should be fired and never be allowed to work in government again. So most of them, if not all of them, will probably never see the inside of a prison. But I also don't want them working in the inside of government anymore either. So I would be just as happy with that because I've gotten over I've reserved the emotional deal about, oh, they all got pardoned, so none of them are going to go to jail and be held accountable. Okay, I've gotten past that. Let's just make sure that they can't work in these jobs anymore. Because all we can do now is clean up the mess and make sure that they don't have the ability to do it again. Yeah, well, they all are corrupt, uh, guys. They are. That's the problem. And it ain't just the left. The right's corrupt too. Uh, Maybe not as many, but you watch Bill Gates. Now Bill Gates is not in Congress. Like he just was on that Bill Maher, that random little one-on-one talk thing he's got going on YouTube, and he come at uh, Matt Gates like an enemy at first. Then he started realizing that he thought Matt Gates was dumb. He thought he was evil. He thought he was no matter what Trump says, it's whatever, and he'll go along with whatever Trump says. Or once he realized when they got in that conversation and they did a little back and forth, and it seems like Bill Maher is being red pilled in a way on that little talk show that he's got on YouTube, because every debate he gets into with somebody that leans right, on most points he concedes. On some cases he don't. He does that typical, like I always say, I know I want to debate with a leftist because they just look at me and say, fuck you, and walk off. So he's done that a few times on some guests on that show. So that's always funny to watch. But I think he's been red pilled a little bit. A little bit. If anything, black pilled. Which is whatever it takes. He's not part of the whole insanity of the left. That's one good thing. So there are some common ground. And if it wasn't for he hated Trump so much, there'd be more common ground. But he's got that Trump derangement syndrome like most of them. So no matter whether it's a good idea or not, if Trump's saying it, there's something evil behind it that would benefit Trump and not America itself. So whatever. Let's see here. That's pretty much all I see. We talked about the tariffs. I think they're going to be crippling for Canada. I think Canada's going to get their balls whacked off real quick, because I watch a lot of car content, guys, and a lot of good car content to me is some of the guys in Canada, because they're still old school. They don't have like $1 million shops and a camera crew and blah blah blah, and they're making these YouTube shows. They are literally like me. They hold their own camera. They set up their own deal. They do their own editing. They do it in a 2-car garage. But the parts, they'll tell you anything that they have to purchase, because a lot of parts are not made in Canada on the aftermarket classic part market, just like the new cars are. But when it comes to classic stuff, like I'm into the 55, 56, 57 Chevys, just about all parts. I think they have some company up there like makes trim for some of them, but I give you an example. Like my floorboard, when I bought it for my 56, with tax and all, was $1,007. A guy up in Canada that I watch bought a floorboard, and the difference between the money exchange from Canadian to U.S. and getting it across the border, because of tariffs, they want to talk shit all the time, but they have to pay a fee when it comes to the Canadian border. The customer who's after that part has to pay a fee to allow that part to continue on into Canada. So they've been tariffing us for a long time now. But anyways, once again, I'm rambling. That same floor pan where I paid $1,007 for it, they paid a little over $1,400. So if they start slapping tariffs, and we start slapping tariffs on them, and then they try to match whatever, and a car guy up there has to pay $2,000 for a floor pan, which they won't be. And they can say, well, when you buy panels then and do it the hard way, but the panels are still coming from here. They still got to go across the border, and they still will have that tariff on it. So whether they're buying patch panels or buying entire floor, uh, the Canadian people are going to rise up and say something to the Canadian government, kind of like they did with the trucker strike that they had. Although the Canadian government tried their best to demonize those people, it didn't work. For the most part, the world was behind those truckers. But anyways, that's yet to be determined. See what happens there. Yeah, Rusty, custom fees. That's what I was meant to say. So yeah, I can't remember anything that I've bought from Canada in my working on old cars and stuff. I'm sure there is something made in Canada, but none of the parts I ever buy are from Canada. So really, everybody talks about how we'll have to pay. Thank you, Jeff. Fort Myers, Jimmy, fan club, chicken in. You are my fan club. That is for sure, Jeff. I appreciate that, sir. Uh, I do. I'm humbled. Everybody, you know, doesn't happen a lot, but just the fact that you go through the trouble of doing that and throw a couple bucks my way, you you don't know how much that really does humble me, and the fact that because I'm on disability, so I don't have a lot of money. And when somebody, and I know what it's like to take money out of your pocket and give somebody else because you support them. And I've donated money like to the Republican Party, and even but like lately, I've not been able to do any of that. And God, they hound you with them emails. You guys get all them emails. You donate when you can, and then if you haven't donated in a while, they remind you that you haven't donated in a while. I don't like that. That's kind of I don't like that. They should appreciate anything that we can afford to do for them, because not everybody that's giving them money to help them get reelected is rich. So I just wish they would calm down on them stupid emails. And I don't want to unsubscribe, so it's kind of like a catch-22 to me, because I like getting the information I get when I get the emails. It keeps me up to date. What's going on, with the Republican Party and stuff nationally. But damn, I get so many emails want me to take a survey, and then at the end of the survey, it's a donation box, you know, 10, 25, 50, 100. It's like, you can't even take a survey without them asking for money. So anyway, I don't even do them surveys no more. So they really don't get no information from me at all. I just read what I can and then I delete it. But I get a ton of it. I don't know about you guys, but I get a ton of it. Yeah, Stephanie, I get a lot of local stuff in the mail, especially like just before the election, but it tapers way down afterwards. But the National Republican Party, however you want to say it, I bet I get 10 plus emails a week from them. Uh, one gives an update of what's going on, or do this survey, or whatever it is. Support, the Republican in my area, and then they'll list them. But always at the end of it, they're asking for a donation, and it's fine. But I think the only reason I get so many emails is because of the donation part, not because they're trying to keep me informed as much. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? But anyways, back to that. Jeff, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And I'll tell you something funny, sir. Because I haven't been doing a lot of videos lately. just my live streams. And YouTube takes a lot to make any money on YouTube. And you have to earn $100 plus in a month before they'll send you a check. And of course, they'll take taxes out on that and everything. But you have to make $100, and I make about $100 every 2 months. And what you just did for me, sir, puts me probably a few cents over the $100 mark. Thank you very much. So that everybody, you never realize how something, it don't have to be a large amount, but something like that makes the difference between getting paid through YouTube or not getting paid through YouTube. But thank you once again. I do appreciate that. I get some text messages from the Republican Party, but it's the email thing. That's, like I said, I don't want to unsubscribe because I do read the stuff they send me. It's just it's almost like you can't leave when you open the link without either clicking cannot donate at this time or a dollar amount. And really, and I tell y'all something. We all those of us that are on Social Security, disability, or whatever, we got a 2.5% raise right this year in January. Well, that raise put me over my little threshold. I pay for my insurance. I don't have Medicare or nothing like that. I pay from the Medicare Cigna. But in that Medicare, I was eligible for assistance through my pharmacy for my medications. Well, that 2.5% it took me off the pharmaceutical assistance program, and now I have to pay 100% of my prescriptions now. And I figured it up, the amount that the raise was and what I pay for my prescriptions now. I literally went in a hole $65. So I lost $65 a month between that raise. It's ridiculous. So I went in a hole $65 for a 2.5% raise. That's a little education for those who never have to deal with that stuff yet. And hopefully you never have to, but you know, it is what it is. All right, guys, saying that, I tell you what, appreciate you all showing up. For those who like my other content, you know, you wouldn't be here if you probably wasn't already subscribed. So to say subscribe kind of seems silly, but comments. I enjoy the comments, and I don't get that many comments because you guys here live with me. But those who watch and I don't know how much they actually watch, they usually watch about half of it if I get it in my analytics. But I get very few comments from my live streams. You know, I like to get some feedback. I always do. So, you know, for those who may watch this as a recording and you got this far, give me a comment. Tell me what you'd rather hear me talk about. I'm gonna try to get Carl back on here hopefully next week. Maybe him and Tyler both can show up. I would like to get some of you guys in here. I can tell you that every week. Send me an email. Just stop it, sir. Yeah, thank you. Oh man, thank you. So, anywho, Jeff, send me an email. If you can't find my email, send me a message in this and on the recording of this live stream. I'm pretty sure my email address is in my bio because I do get emails from other people. But you should come on and since you are very generous at what you do, sir. But come on and talk. Listen, I like to just have a verbal conversation instead of this chat room. All right, Bill. Thanks, sir. Yeah, you know what, Frankenstein. If it wasn't for I already owned my home, if I had a house payment and a car payment, uh, I would be sleeping on a relative's couch probably, or be like my brother and live in an apartment complex and live in the projects, which is, would I would not be happy doing that. I've owned a home. I've never lived in an apartment. I've owned my homes all my life ever since I bought my first home when I was 23. Cool, Jeff. You should do that, brother. Email me. See, Papa, I don't know how that works, brother. I don't. I'm not sure how that works at all. I run off my laptop and I got Wi-Fi. I don't use it. I don't use my phone. Uh, like I can't even use the camera on this to do my videos for my car content because my laptop will not talk to this. So it's like it's just good as a phone. I mean, it's a computer because I can look up whatever I want to look up, but I don't never do no live streams on it. I'd rather do it with the laptop. The screen makes it easier for me to control stuff. Jeff, buddy, come on, man. I tell you what, Jeff, I don't have much, and email me, and I'll send you some merchandise, brother. You know, if you like stuff like merchandise like this right here, yeah, email me, man. I'll send you one. Anybody else wants one, or you know, I, I, I said a long time ago when I started thinking about the merchandise thing, I'm not trying to make any money off of it. Like I got some decals, working on some shirts. Uh, I can get hats. I don't have my hat sitting around. I can show you what the hat looks like. But these little can coolers and these Yetis and stuff, uh, y'all want something like that, just email me. Let me know. And I don't even have a website to put the picture up on this stuff to show you what I have. I need to figure out somebody to help me to develop an online store to do something like that. Because I'm wanting to get some mechanic shirts made. It's got my character on the back, and then on the pocket, it's got my little Corey. You know, Corey, nobody ever called my opinion an analysis anymore before. Because that's what it is. I pay attention to the news. I try to connect the dots. Uh, some of this stuff keeps me up at night. I think about it, and that's how, like when I ramble. I know I ramble a lot, but I try to put the bigger picture together, not just one little story. I try to see if there's something that makes it a larger story than just one little story by itself. I, you know, the, I look for the big picture. Oh, cool, Betty. Yeah, just email me, Betty, and I'll have to. It's been a while since I had any made, so and I know. Let me ask her, and whatever the cost is, that's what it'll be, just the cost, and I'll get with you. Email me. I'll get with you, and I'll get you one coming to you. Okay. And I have the other versions. I wish I had some with me. I have ones that look like my daughter's one that actually makes them. She's a very good artist. Uh, she's got a Yeti. It looks like a 50 caliber shell. It's pretty cool. And then she has them to where she does it all with paint and airbrushing and stuff. It makes it look like a piece of wood. And she's very good at it. But she designed these. I'll show you one more time. But she did that for me. And like I said, that's my cartoon character that was drawn up for me a long, long time ago, like 4 or 5 years ago. And of course, it's my little mechanic with the pulling out the empty pockets. But yeah, so like I said, I got these, and I'm sure you guys seen me drink out of my can cooler before. Let's see if I can reach it. And I got these, and I got them in. Why these are purple is, I believe the project I'm working on is I'm doing it in purple heavy metal flake. It's what I think. I may change my mind, but at the time when I was talking to her to make these, I said I gave her the paint of the purple that I was going to paint my car with. I got a quart of it to do some testing with it with some metal flake and everything. And so she took that and was able to match it to create this. So that's the color my car is going to be. 80% chance that's what it's going to be. I'm such an indecisive person. Oh, thanks, Betty. Yeah, I get asked all the time why purple. That's why, because purple metal flake. It's my girlfriend's favorite color is purple, and I'm into low rides and stuff, so I like the heavy metal flake. Although she couldn't get the heavy metal flake on this here, but I have some test panels I painted. I may show sometime. You can see all the flake that I throwed in on it. But yeah, but I was going to get them in different colors because not everybody likes purple. And different, like that's black lettering, the other one's silver lettering. I was going to get it in white, maybe solid black Yetis with the white letters or silver letters. Yeah, Papa, purple is a cool color, and there's different variations of purple. Like I'm going to throw a little bit of, I'm going to do another test panel, and I'm going to throw a little bit of, it's called something, I can't think of the name of it. Anyway, it's a pearl that I may add into it. That will give the edges of it a different kind of sheen. But that's a car content thing. You guys, I know a lot of people don't get on here to live stream to talk about cars, but we do talk about cars. Talk about a little bit of everything. I'm getting ready to make trying to make a video this week on car content, but it's been so cold here, I can't get in there and move around in the garage very well with the cold weather. Thanks, family. You guys are all positive, and I would hope if I was doing something you didn't like, you would be honest and tell me. But we get some trolls in here every now and then. I get some trolls every now and then in my comments, but they're easy to spot, so I don't worry about those too much. You guys' opinion means something to me. You guys have been with me weekly, even when I've been sick and I'm not being able to do them, and I'm not done them for a couple weeks, and I get on here. You guys show up, you participate. I couldn't ask for a better group of people to hang out with. I appreciate every one of you. You need some dating advice. If you're 6'2" and 180 pounds, what advice can I give you? Have you seen me? I'm the one in front of the camera here, buddy. The only thing I can, you want my dating advice, Jeff? Be very confident. Don't be rude, but be very confident because I've been very lucky in life as far as somebody that's my size and looks or whatever. Um, and I've always been told that it's because they were attracted to my confidence. So that's the only advice I can give you, my friend, is be confident. Don't be timid. If you want to get to know a girl or whatever, and I hope you're not messing with me because I'm trying to be as honest as possible here with you. If you got somebody that you're really interested in, uh, don't go at it, half speed. You gotta. Don't be afraid to tell them uh, what you're looking for. You cannot. You never get what you want if you don't ask for it, or if you don't go for it. You know what I'm saying? Um, we let's see here. I'm on a new medication there, Rennie. The swelling depends on how long I'm up and about. Not like it was. Oh, it was horrible. Um, but right now it probably swells up from my ankles up to my knee a little bit more than it should. But it's better than my whole leg being 3 times the size that it is. But now what I was just talking about, we got that 2.5% raise, and now I got to pay 100% of my prescription costs, and that's a few $100 a month now. Good advice, Stephanie. Actually, I was getting ready to say that, um, especially on a first date. First date should not be about taking them to the. They say you got to impress them. Honestly, if you having to take them to a 5-star restaurant and you got to dress up in something you normally wouldn't wear, and you try to make conversation on subjects you normally wouldn't talk about, well, you're already starting off with a false pretense because first dates should be about getting to know the person, not about how much money you spend on them. So if you you all probably seen that video where the woman wouldn't get out of the car because he took her to a cheese factory. Well, there was a reason why he took her to a cheese factory, and it was her fault. She was late getting ready, and they lost a reservation of where they were going to go. But she wouldn't get out of the car because it was a cheese factory. And I see a lot of guys talk about their first date is take them to a coffee house or something like. I don't think movies should be a first date either because movies, you're not talking to each other. You need an environment like a. You ever go to a museum or something like that, where you can walk around, or here, like in the summertime, go to a zoo or something like that, or I even, um, you know, do something that where you can actually have a conversation with the person you're trying to get to know. Yeah, if that helps. I don't know if that helps. Yeah, Betty, I love Cracker Barrel. I do. Uh, I like their food a lot because I love comfort foods, and I believe everything tastes better with gravy on it. So like I like uh, country fried steak smothered in gravy with mashed potatoes, stuff like that. But that's food wise. But yeah, as far as cost wise, uh, yeah, Cracker Barrel would be good. But like I said, your first date should be about getting to know the person, not about trying to impress them. I know a guy took a girl on a first date. They drove all the way up to Cleveland. There's a boat up there in the river that's a restaurant, and it's like a 3 hour event. You get on the boat, they serve dinner, they have like live entertainment and stuff like that. And he did that for the first date. Well, the problem with that is you can't afford to do that every date. So you want to keep your dates basic. And then once you get to know them and you feel that this is the person you really want to spend a lot of time with, then you say, hey, and work on something that's a special event, not just a first date. 'Cause to me, a first date is a necessity, not a special event, but a necessity because everything starts with the first date. But you cannot keep, let's say it don't work out, and then you're now on your third person on your third first date, and you've already dropped $1,000, say in 3 dates, and you still haven't found the person you want to spend a lot of time with. The investment should be more emotional and less financial to get to know somebody. Yeah, Betty, I never thought about that, but yeah, I've been on that same cruise. That well, it's not really a cruise, but it's a floating restaurant. Uh, but it was some with my girl. It was a we were up there for something else anyway, and I had business. I was the company I was working for. We had to go up there for a conference, and on my free time, I took her with me because I paid for my own hotel room. And but it was somebody I was already with, and it was just something out of the norm to do something special for her, but not a first date. See, Florida. What area in Florida, Jeff? If I can ask, are you in the Panhandle, or are you down by Miami, or? Yeah, Stephanie, the picnic thing works good. You can even the quality of it, and I ain't saying like just go to a food truck, but usually, like I say, you go and do a tour, like go to like oh, COSI, like say drive over to COSI and go through there because that's a science museum, and do that, and then say for something to eat, if the weather is permitting, uh, go to like a really good food truck, and there's a lot of them out there anymore. And if that person doesn't mind that, to me, that's a keeper for most part. Fort Myers, okay. So there's plenty to do down there where you are, just to walk around and do stuff. Yeah, but if you're 6'2" and 180, brother, and you seem awful. You're like, and it's hard to tell in chat, I know, but you seem like a very good dude, man. Because you're very, I mean, you donate money to me, you engage. All your stuff that you say it seems like it's thoughtful and thought out very well when you talk about it. You're not running off at the mouth or anything. So I'm going to assume you're a pretty decent person, and you know maybe I'll start using my live streams to do some kind of dating platform. Although you're from around, or say you're around Fort Myers, I doubt if there's a female in here around Fort Myers. That'd be the hard thing. I recommend not these internet dating sites. When I say internet, I mean the actual internet. Um, but Facebook usually has a local dating group that you could join into, and that would be how you can get a pool of people that because you can put your likes, dislikes, and everything like that. And if the person likes what you're saying, and then you can take it from there. But I think Facebook dating apps are probably the better ones as far as local. It's not necessarily because it's a local group. It's not necessarily a national dating site. It's a local group. So, who do you have in the Super Bowl? Kansas City or Eagles? I don't. I don't have a favorite. I don't. I mean, I don't know who's going to win or who's better, but if I had to go I'd say Kansas City. Uh, but that don't. I'm not saying that because I think they're a better team. It's just that I like that team a little bit better. I don't watch a lot of football. Ain't that the truth, Betty? If you got a dog, if your dog don't like them, there's a reason, absolute reason. My woman will tell you, uh, if somebody has a dog and that dog don't like me, there's something wrong with that dog because uh, all dogs flock to me. I've had people talk about how mean and vicious their dog is. If don't get around it, don't get around it. And the damn things will walk up to me and wag their tails and want me to pet them and stuff. And then the owners, my friends, will be all shocked. And they say, well, I didn't want him to be friendly with anybody. Blah, blah. But that's just the way it is. It seems like dogs like me a lot. You prefer black or African? Women? Whatever you want. Brother, this is 2025. Whatever. Get on a local Facebook dating thing and see if there's people out there that's got the same interest you do. Swanson Pharmaceuticals. Oh, that'd be cool. That's pretty cool. What you yucking about, Stephanie? Did I miss something? Yeah, I mean, how old are you, Jeff? Can I ask? Reason I ask about age is let me tell you something. Uh, you watch Andrew Tate and all these other people who are in the red pill community, and they always talk about dating or trying to find a mate uh, that's young and fertile because it's all about having children with them. See, I disagree. Why would a Porsche scare somebody away? See, 33. So do yourself a favor. I don't know how to explain this to you. I like older women. But that's my preference. Now, saying that, my girlfriend's younger than me. But if I had to get on a dating app, I would pick people older than me. But we're all different. Um, what I was getting ready to tell you is, I know like Myron Gaines and all them, Fresh and Fit and all them, try to tell you date somebody 18 to 25 at the oldest. I disagree with that. I almost cannot stand a woman at those ages. Um, for one thing, especially at my age, obviously I can't compare myself to you because we're different ages, but it's got to be somebody within 10 years. And even less than that if you can do it. Because when you have a conversation and you remember something, it's like my girlfriend was not alive uh, in 1969 for these moon landing. She wasn't alive for Watergate. She wasn't alive when Reagan was voted in. She was, you know, so she grew up in. I mean, she was alive in Reagan's second term, but she was a baby. So having conversations about old movies or some situation or a product that you remember as a kid, it goes right over the head, and it ain't her fault. She just wasn't there, and so I find that a little. You know, you want somebody that can relate to your experiences too. That's cool. You know what, Jeff? Email me, brother. Everybody else that I talked to about emailing me, uh, shoot me an email. Uh, you can find me on Facebook too if you want to shoot me a message. Empty Pockets Garage on Facebook. Uh, but anyways, I got to get off here. Um, I want to once again thanks. Obviously, thanks Jeff uh, and the other person, somebody else, and Corey, Jeff and Corey. All right, guys. Thank you. I appreciate all of y'all. I love all you guys hanging with me. Uh, I want to put together a community going forward. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. Uh, YouTube offers a community situation to where I can make just videos that only members of the community can view, which it that kind of gets around the community guidelines of making a video or something like that. So I can make videos the way I want to if people are members of this community. I'm trying to figure out how they do that. Once I get that figured out, then I'm going to offer that to everybody. Yeah, Jeff, I'll talk to you later. Buy a Ford truck. Buy a Ford truck. You buy whatever truck you like, Randy. I'm a Chevy guy, but Ford, I've had a few Fords too, and I ain't got no problem with them. All right, guys, we'll talk again. If I don't see you, those who hang out Saturday nights with Killer Carl on Rumble, I'm on there 7:30 on Saturdays. If not, I'll be trying to make a car video. If y'all even watch those, I don't know if some of y'all may, some may not. And then if not, I'll see you guys again next Sunday night, 7 p.m. Till then, I'm James. This is Empty Pockets Garage. Till next time, I am out of here. Thanks, guys.